Hi, I'm Philippa from Adyen, and in this video, I'm going to do a brief customer area demo specifically for hotels. So this is the test account for the 5-star payments hotel. Now, firstly, let's talk a little bit about account structure within Adyen. So within Adyen, you have your company account. In this case, that's the 5-star payments hotel. And beneath that, you have different merchant accounts. Now, it's the merchant accounts of where we do things like process payments, we pay out, and we report per merchant account as well. So here you can see for the 5-star payments hotel, we already have 2 merchant accounts set up, one for the Adyen London e-com transactions and another for the Adyen London POS transactions. Now, for big hotel groups, you might have different legal entities. Now, you can have all of those transactions in the same company account and you use the merchant accounts to separate them. So we use merchant accounts to separate by legal entity, potentially by hotel, by channel, or you can get even more granular with it. The choice is yours. But we do things, as I say, like report. A lot of the settings are done on a merchant account basis, and user access can also be granted on a merchant account basis as well. We can also group merchant accounts. So if you had merchant accounts for a particular hotel, you could group that under one hotel to make user access really easy. So under users, you can see currently we have 1 user set up. It's really easy to create new users. I can come in here, kind of set up the user. And you can see here now I can be quite granular as whether I want to give access to the entire account or whether I want to give access to only select merchant accounts. Then within that, you can select what roles they have as well. So we talked about merchant accounts, but you can actually go a little bit deeper as well. So if I go into the Adyen London POS, this would represent the in-store transactions for this hotel. Now, if I go into in-person payments and stores, we can set up stores within a merchant account, and they would represent kind of where terminals are assigned to and where the transactions are coming from. So for the Adyen London POS, we have 5 stores set up for the bar, the coffee bar, the reception area, restaurant and spa. And what this would mean is that this merchant account would receive 1 payout with all the transactions and all the funds across kind of the in-person payments for that hotel. But because we've got stores, it makes it really easy to tie back each transaction to where it came from, where it originated from. So for this hotel, they would receive 1 payout, makes reconciliation a lot easier, but they're able to see where all the payments have come from as well. If that doesn't suit the way that you want to report, you can also set up merchant accounts and receive separate payouts for each kind of area. The choice is really up to the hotel. Next thing I want to show you is how easy it is to add payment methods. Now, for hotels, you might have guests coming from around the world, so it's really important that you're able to accept a payment method that they use, they're familiar with, and that they trust. So, for instance, let's go into the e-commerce account. And we would assume this is maybe the account we're seeing transactions from people making deposits, maybe paying in advance online. Perhaps they're using kind of QR codes in their rooms to order room service and paying online. Regardless of kind of what payments they're for, we can add different payment methods. So the payment methods for this account are set up here. At the moment, we've got a whole host of payment methods, but I can see we don't really have any Chinese payment methods like Alipay and WeChat Pay. So let's add those. We can go in here, we can come here and we can request WeChat Pay. There's no additional information needed for this payment method, so I will submit. And now I have WeChat Pay configured on my account. So let's take a look at the payments list. You can find that under transactions and payments. And this is where you see all of the payments coming through in real time for all of the hotels, merchant accounts, etc., depending on what level you're looking at. So here we're looking at company level, so I can see all of the payments. If I just go down into the Adyen London POS, I'll only see the relevant payments for that merchant account. I can click into a payment. I can see the timeline of that payment. I can see information about the card details. If it was an e-commerce payment, information about 3D Secure. fees, etc. The other thing that's really worth bearing in mind with Adyen, it's very easy to do pre-auths and incremental auth adjustments. So when a guest arrives and checks in, you can authorize an amount on their card, and during the stay, you can increase that authorization amount incrementally as the stay goes on, as the guest wants to add things onto their room, maybe they eat in the restaurant, etc. You can increase that amount held on the card. And then at the end of the stay, you can either capture the finalized amount or you can cancel it if the guest wants to use a different payment method. So the next thing we're going to talk about is terminals and terminal management. So under in-person payments and terminals, I can come and see what terminals I've already got set up. At the moment, you can see we've got one which is currently boarded and it's assigned to the coffee bar. Now it's really easy to move the terminals around different stores, even different merchant accounts within your Adyen account. So for instance, if you want to move a terminal from the coffee bar to the spa, you can do so and you can really easily reassign it within minutes in the Adyen customer area. Also just going to show you how easy it is to order new terminals. You come into this area, hit new order, you work through the kind of flow of the country you're ordering them for, choose the model, check out, and those terminals should be with you within 3 to 5 days. So that's really, really easy. We can also look at terminal settings. Then it's really easy to edit and configure these yourself. So within the terminal settings page, you have the option for customization, selecting language. Our terminals can speak many languages. You can also add things like a logo as well. And you could have a logo that reflects the hotel, like on the front desk, but also if you want specific logos for the certain restaurant brands or perhaps the spa brand in your hotel, you can reflect that as well. There are many other settings also that can be configured, things like tipping as well as DCC, and also Adyen Giving, which allows you to add a charity donation to a customer kind of checking out. Now, we know how important PCI compliance is for any business, but particularly hotels where you have a lot of guests calling up the hotel and wanting to make payments over the phone. Now, what we have also built is a pay by link solution to completely take the hotel out of PCI scope. So instead of hearing card details over the phone and entering them into a system, instead, you can send a payment link to the customer to check out as an e-commerce payment using things like 3D Secure as well. So in order to create a payment link, you can come into here, hit create payment link. We need to do it for a particular account. So let's say it's the London Ecom. And you can use payment links for many reasons, but a lot of our hotels use them for things like room add-ons. So if someone calls up and says they want to add a bottle of champagne onto a room that maybe their friends are staying in, but it can also be used for anything, any ad hoc kind of event payments, etc. So here I can just put champagne for room, and let's say that was £80. I can create the payment link, and then I'd be able to send this to the customer, and they would receive this. It's mobile optimized or on their desktop, and they can check out with the various payment methods that are set up and enabled on that account that are relevant for the location of which that customer is kind of accessing the site from. As you see, this payment link looks quite nice and specifically tailored for what the customer's buying. You can set up different themes. So you could have a different theme for room add-ons like this, but you could set up themes for event bookings, for anything else that might be relevant, golf day bookings, spa bookings, etc. So they look really nice and tailored to whatever the customer is paying and also reflect the brand of the specific hotel. Now, there's a few other things I'm going to show you, for instance, how easy dispute managements are. So within the risk tab, We've got dispute. This is where chargebacks and things like that would show up. And you're able to defend these all within the Adyen portal. It's also really useful to know that Adyen will automatically defend many of the chargebacks that come in where, for instance, you've already refunded the transaction, or perhaps a payment had gone through 3D Secure. If we're able to defend it for you, we will. Anything else we'll leave up to you to do, all within this portal through a really easy click-through flow. Outside of the risk settings, under finance, you can have a look at the payout model. Now, this allows you to control how each merchant account is paid out, whether that payout frequency is daily, whether it's weekly, etc. But also importantly, you can select a sales day closing time. So that is the time at which your sales day runs. So for many businesses, that might be midnight to midnight. In a hotel specifically, it might be that you want to run a sales day closing time from the early hours, from 2 a.m. to 2 a.m. What's also really important to note, as in some of our hotel integrations to POS systems, is that we are able to do dynamic closing times. So as soon as the till is closed off at the end of the day, that triggers a message through to Adyen to dynamically close the sales day. So it makes reconciliation a whole lot easier. Also, it's really easy to kind of track sales. Under finance, you've got this sales to payouts dashboard, which gives you a really nice overview of the sales that you are making in the hotel. So this is for a particular time frame where we've done some test payments on this account, and you can see on this day, for instance, there were 2 sales, amounting this and no refunds, and you can see what payment methods they were for as well. Then for all of the actual reporting, you want to download, you want to do the reconciliation. This is your reports overview, and you can download kind of any of these reports. We have many for many different purposes. Typically what gets used most often is a settlement detail reports, which shows when we pay out to you, what sales have been included in that payout batch. We also have a payment accounting report, which shows every status of a payment as well, and that's used for doing things like tying back charges from your monthly invoice. So the final thing I'll show you is the Insights tab. This is where we have tried to make a lot of our insights and data more generally available for you to self-serve to access at any given time. So there's various insights reports. I'll show you the payment life cycle. This allows you to come in and see at any given time what your kind of authorization rate is over a period of time. It shows you the number of initiated transactions, successful transactions, what the full funnel authorization rate is, which can be really useful. Authorization rate for different payment methods as well. Omni-channel shoppers, this one is really probably quite interesting for hotels, because you'll be able to see how many kind of new and returning guests that you have, but also you'll be able to see how much guests interact with you across the different channels. Finally, shopper origin. This shows you, how many of your shoppers are domestic versus international. You can also see really clearly the issuer countries and regions that your shoppers are coming from, that your guests are coming from. Now, this is really useful because it might inform what other payment methods you need to add. So if you notice here that you get a lot of customers, checking out with Dutch cards, with Japanese cards here, maybe that's a sign that you should be offering JCB, which is really relevant for Japanese guests, or Ideal, which is a useful online payment method for Dutch guests.